Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's Hawaiian Shirt Day here at PAC 14 because we're in a festive mood with our friend Daniel Cherrix. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So you're going to tell us about this choir school thing through St. Peter's.
I am indeed. So we're starting a choir school for the Eastern Shore this fall, at the end of September, as a matter of fact. So you may wonder, what's a choir school?
What's a choir school?
It's where you learn to sing.
Because when I sang in choir, we just showed up on Wednesday night and practiced, and next thing you know, we were out there just like not even knowing what we're doing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're trying to offer an opportunity for young people, probably from the age of 7 to 18, to go another step beyond the twist and squirm church choir or children's choir.
Right.
This choir school is part of the Royal School of Church Music, which comes from England.
Right.
And if you've watched any of the royal events, you see adults and children singing together.
Right.
And they're singing real music, really, really difficult music. So this program is based on that. It could be called a little bit better because it expands it from just men and boys to all adults and all children.
Right.
We've got an informational time that's coming up on the 25th of this month. That's just next week, isn't it?
Yes.
For music educators. Later in September, we'll have an informational night for prospective families. And then the choir school is set to launch on the 29th of September.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it really is. Singing, someone once said reading is fundamental, but could it also be that singing is fundamental? I mean, where do you learn such skills as the cooperation, teamwork, sort of your place, how you fit into the team? What do you bring? Someone once called it something about right-sizedness. Mm-hmm. You learn all these kinds of skills, and this Royal School of Church Music model is really exceptional.
Well, I grew up a Presbyterian, and we believe the whole make a joyful noise to the Lord thing.
Exactly.
So we sang a lot, but we sang badly.
Well, we may sing badly at first also. I mean, who's to say? But over time, with practice, with patience, that's another skill that,
right.
Patience is taught. This program is not unlike travel sports. It takes a lot of dedication, takes a lot of time. And all that's going to have to come from the parent,
right?
But the outcome and the rewards on the other side, I believe, are things that will be with this person for the rest of their lives.
Right. Well, being older, when I go to the newer non-denominational churches with the big the big groups there. Singing in the music is such a really important part of their program. I almost feel like I'm at a Broadway show, and then we get the sermon, which is always great, but I'm always amazed at the amount of effort that goes into the music part. But being an old person, I kind of like the more traditional things. So what you're trying to do in this St. Peter's way, I think is really great.
Thank you. And people say contemporary music. Well, there are still composers composing choral music today that has a completely different sound, but still in that sort of classical Western music mode.
Right, right. What's your background? How did you get interested in this?
Oh, I've been interested in music since before I can remember. When I was a small child, and my parents would take me to someone's house and they had a piano, I was always there. I begged my parents for piano lessons in kindergarten. And no one would take me because I was 5 years old. They said, well, you can't do that. So finally, my kindergarten teacher got conned into it by my mother. And I guess I played my first hymn in church probably when I was 7 years old. I've been hooked on it forever. I got out of the business, so to speak, back in the early 2000s and went into residential real estate. And truly, my soul missed this work. it may be that I'm drawn to it like a moth to a flame,
Right.
but but I can't stop.
Right.
And it's meant so much to me. I really feel like it's my responsibility to give this gift to another generation, and hopefully keep this thing going and give it to another generation and another.
Right.
It's amazing what really good music can do for one's soul.
Right. So you're the musical director at St. Peter's.
I am.
Okay, and that's in downtown Salisbury, one of the great institutional churches in our community.
Exactly. Been there since 1768.
Right.
On that same spot.
Right, exactly. So that must be a real honor and a challenge.
It is an honor. It's a great honor. After I got out of church music, went into real estate, and realized what a hole I'd left in my soul, so to speak. I guess my number one goal was to get back to the Episcopal Church in the downtown, sort of a downtown Episcopal church, and somehow or another, God and the universe has planted me here, and I'm just delighted. It is an honor.
Father David Michaud is in charge there. And
He is.
He's one of my great friends, and I really enjoy being around him.
He's fabulous. He is. He cares deeply about this program, and that's not always the case. So
Right.
we're so fortunate to have, from the top down, our vestry is invested, if you will, pun intended, in this program. My boss, Father Michaud, is invested in it. I certainly am. We've got a great board. We have a school board. People like Phil Tillman and Bill Folger and Kate Allen are on it. Dick Van Gelder. So we've got a great beginnings of great underpinning for this
Right.
for this program.
Right. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, and I was going to say, and this program is free.
Oh, it's a free thing. Okay.
It's free. There's no tuition. There'll be a very informal interview session with interested participants with me, just to see where they are vocally, where
Right.
they are musically. But this and this is true of the Royal School of Church Music across the board. These programs are free in their community, and this is the first one on the Eastern Shore. So we are excited to present this
Interesting.
and offer it.
When I see those English choirs,
Yeah.
I was just talking about this to someone recently. I thought it was just part of the culture, overseas, that everyone, from youth on, participated in the choir, and that's why they were so good at it. But it's not that way. They really decide that they want to do this and have to school themselves, become part of a school, exactly like what you're talking
Well,
about.
you take Westminster Abbey, St. Paul's, St. George's Chapel in Windsor, York Minster. I mean, you just name all the big churches, and they have choir schools. And now those go beyond where we are at this point.
Right.
And their academics. A great example of that in America is St. Thomas Fifth Avenue, and that's at the top of the food chain. So we're at the entry level of the food chain. But some other churches, parish churches, like St. Paul's K Street in Washington D.C.,
Right.
St. Mark's Philadelphia, Christ Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, for instance, have choir schools where children come, young people come, multiple days a week, and have an opportunity to learn music. Sometimes there are piano lessons or instrumental lessons. There's a study hall time. There's snacks. There's even an activity.
Right.
Get these kids outside and do something. The program also offers summer camps. They're called courses, but they're summer camps where kids can go be with other kids and have the opportunity to work with world-class conductors and musicians, learn repertoire. Another church where this happens is the National Cathedral.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did I mention it's free?
Yeah, you did mention it's free. What's the frequency like? How often would they be coming to learn?
Wednesday and Thursday, 4:30 to around 6:30.
Okay.
And Thursday, we're providing dinner for the participants and their families. And they'll have an overlap period with the St. Peter's Choir, with the adults.
Right.
Because, once again, this is, the program is designed such that you get children and adults singing really difficult and rewarding
Right.
repertoire together.
Right. It's kind of a tight environment over there at St. Peter's. Are you going to have it at St. Peter's?
Oh, we are. Oh, we are. That's funny you say that because our chancel area where the choir sits.
It's all kind of small. Yeah.
Yes, you're right in there with each other.
But pretty good acoustics for the,
Oh, yes.
considering what that room, how it's built with all the brick and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, brick is not brick is pretty porous, so
Yeah.
it tends to soak up sound, but it's a beautiful environment, an inspiring environment.
Yeah.
So someone cared enough, I guess, 100 or more years ago, to create that beautiful, beautiful holy space. So when you take that care and that architecture that was created, and then you couple with that beautiful music, you get an experience that's transcendent and that brings you out of the everyday and hopefully gives you some energy for the week. And so that's part of what we were wanting to give the community.
Right.
This is the kind of experience that's different than the humdrum everyday way.
Right. Is it competitive? I mean, what do you do if you get a kid who's like me who loves to sing but can't sing? I mean, how does that work?
We teach them. Yeah, it's that simple. I have colleagues who have never met a child that couldn't. Maybe they come into the program and they can't match pitch. Well, give it some time. Now we got to have patience, don't we? But give it some time and some effort and some work and some love and some attention, and you've got a child who in 2 or 3 years matches pitch.
Right.
And I've seen some of these kids go from not matching pitch to being the star quarterback of the choir.
Right.
So I think a lot of times, you'll hear someone say, "Well, my chorus teacher in high school or whatever said just mouth the words." That's probably the worst thing you could say. Just mouth the words.
I wish they had told that to me, but go ahead.
I'm glad they didn't.
That would have been good advice.
No, that's the worst thing in the world to say. You just mouth the words. Work with the person. If you
Yeah.
can, if your voice can inflect from here to there, if you can make those sorts of changes in your voice,
Right.
then there's something to work with.
Yeah, I was like in 5th or 6th grade when I went from soprano to alto, and it was pretty traumatic.
Well, especially for kids boys, for whom perhaps have been the star, soprano, and then all of a sudden they can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is a loss. That's the other thing about our program. Some choir school programs cut, once the boy's voice changes, you're out. But our plan is that they will move down to alto, and then once their voice is fully changed, we plan on just putting them in the tenor or bass section wherever they fall out.
How big will this group be?
There's no limit on this except spatially, as you've already mentioned.
Right.
But we're looking for 8 to 10 right now. 8 to 10 really interested participants. And with that group, you've got something solid to work with. You can make some sound. You've got the camaraderie. You've got the community building thing that can happen. The team building.
Right.
That's necessary. This is, I think I said already, this is not unlike travel sports.
Right.
Singing is not unlike sports. It's physical. If you're not physically engaged in the process,
Right.
Then you're not engaged in the process.
Right.
It's not just a this thing. It's a
Right.
whole body effort.
One thing I've always noticed is that choirs are all geared toward Christmas. Because Christmas is the big thing, but there's
Angels we have heard on high.
there's plenty of other months where songs need to be sung, but you're headed into the Christmas season, so maybe the timing's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. And then Easter's the next
Right.
big thing, sort of. And then this spring, coming up this spring, the choir school is going to have some really great opportunities. First, Susan Klebanow, she's the director of choral activities at UNC Chapel Hill.
Okay.
She's going to be in town. She's going to work with our choirs. Next, David Halls from the Salisbury University, Salisbury Cathedral, UK, Salisbury, England,
Our sister city.
our sister city, will be in town. He's the music director at Salisbury Cathedral. Well, there's going to be this big service at St. Peter's while he's here. We're going to debut a world premiere of a commissioned anthem,
Wow.
and he's going to work with the choir.
Wow.
I failed to mention already the Delaware Choir School, which is a flagship choir school in the United States, just up the road. They will be doing a concert in June, and our singers will have an opportunity to sing some with them. Then in summer, there are these summer camps, summer courses.
Right.
They have one at the National Cathedral. They have one at Duke University. There are several out west. And there's one in Newport, Rhode Island. And our plan is to take as many kids as want to go to that summer course in Rhode Island.
What's your favorite hymn?
Abide with me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you like about that?
Well, you know, the hymns that's the poetry, right?
Right.
And then there's the tune.
Right.
The poetry. It's unbelievable.
Those words speak.
Oh my gosh. To the very core of my being.
Yeah. Mine was always Ave Maria because it's so simple.
Well, that's a good one too.
Yeah, and if it's sung correctly, it'll make you cry.
So will Abide with Me if it's sung correctly.
But it's like Stairway to Heaven. If it's not sung correctly, it'll make you cry.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that's the yes.
What's a good hymn that no choir can screw up?
Well, there isn't one. You bet choir's right. I don't know that there is one. I mean,
It seems like
you know, but the screwing up.
It seems like coming to some of the Christmas ones, because
But-
we all sing those in the car.
You know, but screwing. How do you define screwing up?
Well, it's just like when you listen to it, you're like, ooh, no. No.
You know, the only way you could really screw it up is not be engaged
Exactly.
from here.
Because it is.
From here.
Because the singing is a spiritual thing within
Exactly.
you. Exactly. I mean, it entertains the people and brings spirit to them, but within yourself, because like something almost takes control over you, and you become like a vessel.
Do you know that choirs, when they are singing well and when they're fully engaged, their heart beats sync up with
Right.
each other? The group becomes, you know, that old thing about the sum of the parts is, or what's greater than the sum of the parts?
Yeah.
You know, that thing.
Yeah.
It's a true thing with a choir, with any team.
Yeah.
You know, I bet these synchronized swimmers. I wonder about that. If that sort of thing, what the correlation is in sports to something like that.
Right. I forget the choir that comes for the Magi event every year, but those people were so into what they were doing. I mean, they were completely motivated, and it was like you said, it's like a sports team, like a travel team.
It is.
They are completely
Devoted, if you will. To
devoted.
not use
They're on board.
yeah.
No one is like, oh gosh, what do we do? I mean, they are completely into this thing.
Well, and that's what it can do. It can bring you into community with other people, and we sort of need that more than ever now, don't we?
Right.
It seems. Or do we? We've always needed it.
We've always
needed
needed
it.
it. Yeah.
We've always needed it.
What's the age range again?
7, and I put that in quotes because if you're reading to learn, not learning to read, you're welcome.
Right.
You know, if you have sort of advanced comprehension. To 18,
Okay.
and then if you stick around town, if you don't go to college, or if you go to college here, you know, we have a Choral Scholars program with SU where we give scholarships to talented singers over at the university to come and be part of our music program.
Right. You know, St. Peter's also was famous for years for having the Bells program.
Oh, we still have them.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I don't hear about it as much, so maybe okay.
Well,
So tell me about how do the Bells? I mean, I think that's unique for around here.
We have a magnificent bell director. You're talking about our bell choir, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Megan Finoglietto. She is absolutely outrageously good. We've got a thriving bell program, and you know, during COVID when we couldn't sing, the bells really stepped up and filled in a gap.
Okay.
And rather than just playing once a month, they played 2 or more times a month.
Okay.
I know she has several choirs, sort of a beginner's group, and the regular group. That is a multi-generational thing as well. So we're really taking St. Peter's music program ministry, if you will, and moving it's all ages. But it's not that they're segregated into, the little ones and the middle ones and the older
Right.
ones. We're bringing them all together. And what a gift to a small person
Right.
to be able to work with a
Right.
older person and vice versa. I think it gives energy both ways, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the bells thing always fascinated me because I would just sit there agape because how do they know whose turn it is? I mean, it was just always amazing to me.
Well, and talk about that can really turn into a fiasco. She's such a good and precise conductor, and she does it with love and with a smile.
As we should do everything that way.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. But she does it with such love and such smile and with such a preciseness. It's truly one of the best bell choirs I've ever heard. Because when a bell choir goes south, there's no hiding it.
Yeah.
If you sing a wrong note, you kind of hide between
Yeah.
the other singers. But there's no hiding a ding at the wrong time.
That's something you really can't hide.
Indeed.
Tell me about this community sing-along that's coming up.
Oh, so that's another thing that these young singers will have an opportunity to be part of. So probably about 30 years ago, there used to be something in town called the Community Messiah Sing-Along. You get together, there'd be an orchestra, there'd be soloists, and the audience would fill the role of the chorus. And they would be singing all the choruses for Messiah. So this December, third Sunday in December, I think, we're going to offer from St. Peter's a Community Messiah Sing-Along.
Wow.
In fact, we've already been given a grant by SWAC to get this thing off the ground. We're going to have 4 outrageous soloists, which will be revealed soon. And these young singers will be able to be part of that and experience that. So we're looking forward not only to that, but the fact that we get to restart something that was really a holiday tradition in town 30 years ago and before.
Right. So it's not limited to St. Peter's.
Oh my gosh.
It's for everything.
Well,
everyone.
Not only is the Messiah
Right.
not limited to
Right.
St. Peter's,
Right.
but this choir school is not limited to St. Peter's Church in the least.
Right.
We want people from the community. In
Right.
fact, it won't work if it's insulated to St. Peter's. It won't work.
Right.
It must be open.
Right. You already have those people.
Right.
You need to bring in some more people.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be a great thing. It seems really intriguing to me.
I think that given time, so if we're given time to grow and develop, in 5 years, this thing is going to be outrageously
Right.
good.
If I want to get my kid directed toward this thing, is there a website?
There's a website, so stpeterschurch.net/choir school. There is the informational meeting for music educators next Wednesday. And then there will be another informational meeting in September.
That's really cool. And it's all free, I understand.
It is all free.
That's really cool.
And there is dinner on Thursday nights for the
Right.
participants and their families. One of the most stressful things for people with children who work is, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight?
Right.
So we're taking that problem away for our participants on Thursday evenings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite newspaper, the Salisbury Independent, one of my favorite reporters, Bryce Stump, is doing a big article for me this week. I haven't seen it yet. He's going to send it to me today, I hope. About something going on at the old Green Hill Church this weekend.
Oh, Green Hill Church, the mother church of all the Episcopal churches in Wicomico County.
Right. 1735, whatever it is, whatever's on the wall there. Yeah.
1730. Blah, blah.
Something, okay.
So every year we have Old Green Hill Sunday. All the Wicomico County Episcopal churches meet down there. Well, another exciting opportunity for community. And so we'll be there. There's going to be a choir. All you have to do for the choir is show up at 9 o'clock at Old Green Hill, and we'll give you some music, stuff you're going to know, and have fun singing. And then there's lunch afterward, free of charge. All this free stuff. Become an Episcopalian, you get free stuff. Red Roost is giving us the chicken.
Wow.
The sides this year are from the deli at Pecan Square. So it promises to be a really exciting time. And our newest clergy person, Greg Harbaugh, is going to be the preacher. It's always the exciting honor for the most junior clergy person in Wacomico County to give the sermon.
Right.
I think it's more of a trick than an honor, but.
Right. And historically, it's always the hottest day of the year.
Yes.
But this weekend, the forecast is pretty good.
Well, 2 years ago when we didn't do it last year because
Right.
of COVID, of course, but 2 years ago it was one of the most beautiful days on Delmarva.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that we'll have that again this time.
Yeah. Great environment. If you've never been down there, it's amazing to see. You would never imagine that something so historic and so cool is right there on Green Hill. It's on Green Hill. That's how Green Hill got its
Exactly.
name. Yeah. It's just amazing.
You could even canoe down there.
You could even
You could bring your boat.
You could even canoe down there. And Bryce Stumps, like I said, is going to have a big story in this week's Independent, not just about the event, but about some of the history and what goes into keeping that thing going.
Right.
It's just amazing.
There's a whole committee of people from across the county, different churches, that keep it viable.
Yeah, that's great. I've never been there for an actual church service, but I went to a funeral there once. And you really can just look around and imagine what things were like. It really takes you takes you back in time as a cliche, but it really, does take you back in time. It's just amazing.
300 years.
Yeah.
300 years.
It's just amazing.
It is.
So are you enjoying being here in Salisbury?
I love it. I'm so happy. I really am.
It was a good move for you to get back into this?
I couldn't have orchestrated this. I said earlier that my goal after being out of church music was to be back in the downtown Episcopal church of a town. So I couldn't have orchestrated a better move.
Right.
It's weird. It's really freaky how it all
That, like, maybe God's at work sometimes.
Maybe, you think?
That's what they keep telling me.
That's what's happening. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be too kooky about it, but yes, I couldn't agree more. Really couldn't.
All right, wrap me up again. What's it called?
The Choir School of the Eastern Shore.
Okay.
St. Peter's Choir School of the Eastern Shore. Free. All we need are some interested participants.
7 to 17.
7 to 17 or 18.
And your website?
stpeterschurch.net/choir school.
Excellent.
Thank you.
He's Daniel Cherrix. He's the music director at St. Peter's here in Salisbury, and we're thrilled he had time to be with us here today. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled you had time for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent newspaper, another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.